on the dock right here. Pastor Troy here on the dock.org. I think I just kicked out of the song again. We're going to keep going here just for the record. We've restarted the show 3 times tonight. We never do that. So as we get close to the end of season 3, Donna's had to say 3 times in the pre-episodes that she was wrong. And we were right. Me and Rick were right. We love it.
Correct.
But we're going to keep rolling here on the dock.org. Pastor Troy right here every Tuesday and Thursday, dropping episodes out of the clouds into your lap, whether you're moving or not in the car, whether you're running around and maybe working out, listen to us on your iPhone or on your Android device. We're going to give you a conversation tonight to propel your faith out of the shallow and into the deep. We're available on YouTube and Spotify and iTunes. Those are really good if you're working out and you just want to listen to the audio, but YouTube's where you can see our beautiful dressages, our beautiful pictures. You can also go to Rumble, SermonNet, YouTube Music, which used to be Google Play, and Roku. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, and Getter are our social media. You can comment on the fact that you were a part of the episode where Donna said she was wrong 3 times. It's like a triple header.
Is that like Beetlejuice or something?
Yeah.
Say it 3 times
like
and what
Beetlejuice.
happens?
Donna was wrong. Donna was wrong.
My head
Donna-
explodes. My head explodes if you say it 3 times.
It's a nighttime episode. We don't usually tell you, but we're shooting at night on a Friday night, and you know, we're just thinking when we're done, we're gonna go eat something, but
Blood sugars are low.
blood sugars are low, and we're just gonna have a good time. We're gonna have a good time tonight. We're glad you're joining us. Don't know when could be your morning, but guys, we're having a good day. So let's get ready to go here. We go to Patreon. Patreon's our partner site. There's 4 levels of ways you can partner with us. 3 levels you can sponsor. Go check that out. Download the Patreon site. Download the app on your phone and look it up and find out how you can be part. You can even figure out how to get one of these fancy cups by being a partner or sponsor. There's a lot of other opportunities for us to interact with you. Again, subscribe, hit like, notify, tell others about us, and also go to slnt.com, silent.com. That is our partner site. We're pushing stuff for them this year. They've got these Faraday bags, and they help you reclaim your right to privacy. We'll do an advertisement at the end of the show. You can find out. I got my phone in my Faraday bag right now. Nobody can find me. The government, Google, CIA, FBI, Korea, nobody can find us. I got my phone sleeve. You can get the key fob. You can get your bags. You can get purses. Let me show this to you, ladies. They've got even the little sling bags. And they got something new. We'll do advertising on it in season 4, but they just came out with wearables, Rick, wearables.
Yep.
So they got like sports jackets and like sweatsuits. So it's got certain pockets you can keep your keys or your fobs in. So now you don't have to carry your wallet or this. You can just stick it in that pocket and know that it can't scan your credit cards or this. So
right.
I've had to cancel 2 credit cards in the last 30 days because somebody has scammed the card off. They're learning how to get these little tap things off them.
Yeah.
And if they can get a little bit, they have to have a little more information, but they'll try to fish you through email to get that. And if they get that, they'll try stuff. So if you go to SLNT Silent, pick this up, go to slnt.com/discount/OTD. You can get our 15% or better discount on many items, free shipping, or you can go to the checkout code at the end, go to slnt.com. And if you don't remember all those slashes, just hit OTD when you check out and you'll get those discounts. So again, we'll show you that at the end of the show. If you're just confused now and you just want to harass Donna, go to onthedock.org. You can find out all these links and details of all this stuff, and you can email her at info@onthedock.org, and you can defend her, or you can give her a hard time, whatever you want to do. But Donna is in control. She's the producer and director here. We've got Donna in studio. Donna, how you doing over there? Are you feeling confident? Or
I
we beat
don't
you up
really
enough?
know how I'm doing over here tonight look at that.
I know we've shut every piece of equipment down.
Oh my goodness!
Is the third staying up?
Yes, it's doing.
You don't think you can get it down? Is it just going to stay up?
No.
Well, we may have to freeze the show.
We may have to restart it.
I would like to point out that Donna at no point said that she was wrong. She said it was her fault. I would like to point out that's probably a huge differentiation in her mind.
My wife's in the room. She's not on camera because she's still recovering from surgery, and she's got to have surgery again. So she's in the room. My wife will say, "I'm sorry," but she never says she's wrong either. Yeah.
Donna wasn't wrong. It was her fault.
And Donna just fixed the lower third.
There you
so
go.
just saying.
Well, that's why you're the executive producer and you're the tech.
That's why I'm out here.
Yeah, that's why you're out here. That's why we're over here. We just stalled while she fixed that. Did you see that good move?
Thank you.
I've got in studio. I've got our guest today, guest co-host Rick Kraniewski.
Look at that. Hold
Hi,
on.
everybody.
There you go.
We've had 2 Chicago Bear fans in that seat in a row. John Steve just filled in for 3 shows.
Look at your picture.
And now you.
There's your picture I selected for you.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good one.
Great. It's like good. You look
Look
good.
at that.
Look at
You
that.
look
Hey,
good.
look at the whiskers match the grain.
And our
of the
studio
shirt.
audience is so glad to have you. They're just on their feet right now applauding for you. Our whole studio audience.
Where's the applaud button?
Yeah, you got to figure that out one too. She'll get to.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, filmed in a studio. That's right.
you,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah. So Mother Beth's not here's Mother Beth Dressage. She's here.
Yep.
She will not be speaking. She refused to go on mic because she wasn't gonna get paid for this episode. Paid. She wouldn't get paid.
We get paid?
Yeah, well, I guess she does because her agent said she couldn't be on microphone. And
She
then,
had her people call your people and
Yeah.
say, we're not coming.
But the last thing the producer said is, "I will represent Mother Beth in all comments." So the voice of Mother Deborah will, Mother Beth will be played by Donna. Donna will pass through all her details today, but we'll get her back
That
soon.
will be me.
You'll see her soon, and we're going to have a great show tonight. Here we go. Building a Stronger Church series, The Resistance, The Rise of the Church, The Rules of Hard Knocks. We are about done. We're at Rule 19. We've got a 20 to go, and we're going to do a little wrap up, give you a couple of bonus rules, and we'll get you on the way to the end of season 3 shooting. And then, guys, it's going to be great. We'll be thinking about season 4 soon. If you got ideas for season 4, I'm going to risk something here. You can go to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter,
wow.
Telegram, and get her. And you can. She didn't put that lower third up. She was not gutsy enough to do that. I realized that. No. Yeah, and I'll put it up. I've got it here.
I'm not playing
there
anymore.
We go.
There you
Facebook,
go.
Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, and get her. That's in the lower right of my screen. And you can send us ideas. If you got ideas for shows, we'd love to have it. And you get some things you'd like us to focus on. We would love to hear your comments.
Going to open it up to the masses.
Yep, that's right.
Okay.
Info at onthedock.org. That's our email right there. I'll put that up as well. You can reach out to Donna and give her ideas as well. Maybe you want to be a partner of the show, and we'll do a show on your Christian business, your organization, or you've got something of interest we'd like to get you in. So we're on Rule 19, the Rules of Hard Knocks. We're going to get moving in this and get this season in the books here before long, and we're ready to go. So let's get started with the Rule of 19. And let me give you just a reminder from the last episode. In the last episode, we had Rule 18. John Steve was sitting in that episode, and we started to take on 18, 19, and 20, the last 3 rules. And I call those rules the riding high in the saddle rules. Rule 16 and 17 were they're not very fun, but you must do them rules. It's like the rule on tithing, and it was the rule on practice like you play. Nobody likes practice, but if you practice really hard, you play really well. That's a good tip for Chicago Bears. Steelers play really hard. Look at us, we're 3-0. First time in a long time we've been 3-0. It's so good.
With a former Bears quarterback too.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Hey, we're 1-2 with your guys. Yeah, he looks real good right now.
He does.
And then
He looks healthy.
Caleb Williams looks so weak right now. You're beginning to think that maybe it's not the quarterbacks, maybe it's your quarterback coach and your offensive coordinator. It was ours.
It's hard to be healthy and effective when you're laying on your back.
Of course, he's running. Of course, Fields was running the whole entire
was.
game, and Caleb Williams is getting nailed. And Caleb's a drop back passer, so I don't know what he's going to do.
13 sacks. In
Well,
3
once
games,
again,
so.
you've enjoyed Jesus'
Yep.
Sports Show with guest host John Steve and Rick Kraniewski. We talked the last episode. We talked so much football that we're thinking about doing a separate podcast.
Well, Sundays are for Jesus and football and naps.
That's right. That's right. But Rule 18, 19, and 20, I call those the ride high in the saddle rules because they're not so much necessity. These are the rules that you need to keep your pride. You need to be living a strong faith in Jesus Christ. You need to be able to roll in the room and know that you're a godly man or a godly woman, that your faith is imposing and it can handle the devil. Riding high in the saddles, when those cowboys ride into town and they're the good, Marshall Dillon, and you can just tell the winds are changing. We're talking about ride high in the saddle rules, and these rules that we're talking about in 18, 19, we'll get to 19 here in a minute, and 20, they are the rules that we are commissioned by to help us be truth walkers, to help us to be way makers, and to help us to faithfully bring that good news to the world. And that's how we get out there and really do it. Now, we got to get all these other things right, but if we ride high in the saddle, it'll be good. Rule 18 that we covered in the last episode was our lives are to be a Christ-like fragrance. Our lives should give off an aroma. People should experience something unique in Christ when they see us and they experience us. And so when you ride high in the saddle, you come in the room, there'll be an atmospheric change. We talked about that in 18. So now as we go to 19 continues in that whole story here. So let me jump over there, and we're going to jump right in on 19. Rather than me tell you what it is just right off the bat, and I'm going to come back to that in a second. I want to start off with the big text here. And the text really talks about, I've used this text a lot this year. It's Romans 12, Rick, 1 through 21. It's a lot of text, but there's some like gold orange ones here. And it's a text that really talks about being real. I mean, and I'm just going to give you a hint. Rule 19 is about being real. Because if you want to be that cowboy riding high in the saddle, number one, you gotta have that presence of the Lord upon you. That's that fragrance. And then you got to be real. I mean, keeping it real. I mean, when Marshall Dillon rolled into town, I mean, Marshall Dillon could bring down the house because, man, the man can handle himself. You know, he could throw a punch. He could work those guns. You know, he had old Festus in the background. He had old Newley. Some of y'all are like, who's Marshall Dillon? Go watch Gunsmoke. It was great. You know,
people knew he was genuine.
They knew he was genuine. He was real. You know, he wasn't some fake law. They knew when he was coming, the bad guys better skedaddle. You know, and today you've got so many people. People are confused today by who's real and fake. There are so many churches and preachers today, and people that call themselves Christians that they'll say that, but they don't come out like that. They act like they'll say it on Sunday, but then you see what's happening. The number of preachers right now that are being exploited in Texas, I think every preacher in Texas is having some sort of affair. There's been like 8 or 9 Texas preachers, big churches that have had to resign in the last few months just because of inappropriate things going on in their lives. I mean, huge ministries. And this is just ongoing. And so, you know, people out there are like, see, I told you. See, I told you.
Sure.
There's no real authentic Christian. But when a real one comes in, people do notice. And sometimes you have to ride like that a bit before people go, well, I'm still trying to figure out, you know, is this guy authentic? Is this woman authentic? But if you ride high in the saddle long enough and people see you ride through the valleys and through the challenges, then you know, you get to know it. So Romans 12 talks a lot about being real. And I want to just break that text down. And then we'll make this declaration of Rule 19 here, which is going to be really good. Gosh. I'm looking at it here. Here we go. Here it is. At Romans 12, right here it is. And so, dear brothers and sisters, I plead with you to give your bodies to God because of all he has done for you. Let them be a living and a holy sacrifice, the kind he will find acceptable. This is truly the way to worship him. Don't copy the behavior and the customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person. Real change there, Rick. Real change, Donna. By changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. Because, next verse, because of the privilege and authority God has given me, Paul writes, I give each of you this warning. Don't think you're better than you really are. So while you're high in the saddle, don't let pride consume you either. Be humble in there. You know, be somebody that fights for the underprivileged. Be somebody that will take on issues of justice. Be somebody that will speak up when things are wrong. Be somebody that will admit you're wrong when you're wrong. Good job tonight, Donna. Yeah. Be honest in your evaluation of yourself. Measure yourself, it says, verse 3, part B, by the faith God has given us. God's given us a faith that when we admit our failures, he's merciful and graceful. So we shouldn't be scared of admitting our failures or asking for help because God is there to help us. Verse 4, just as our bodies have many parts and each part has a special function, so it is with Christ's body. We are many parts of one body and we all belong to each other. So how I act or how I fail or how I represent, it actually causes other people to consider all of us by that. So when the pastor out there in Texas, the 12th one this month or something comes out that he's having an affair and he's been doing this and this and that, he's been stealing the money, or he's really got a male massage lover or whatever. You know, when these things come out like that, people kind of go like, well, they're all like that.
Right.
They just kind of people that are doubters of Christ, people that are skeptical, the devil will just tell them, oh, they're all like that. They're all just fakes.
Right. They like to find the flaw.
Yes.
Which we all have.
Yeah.
And then say, well, you know, obviously you're not genuine. Or you're not.
So if nobody's genuine, just be you. Just live it up. Be crazy. You know, because there's no real believers. Yeah. Just enjoy it because you know, next thing you know, you're going to be dead, and so you might as well live life to your fullest now because there's no eternal consequence. I think it's important to understand. And he goes on to say, just as our bodies have many parts and each part has a special function, so it is with Christ's body. We are many parts of one body and we all belong to each other. We got to remember, we kind of represent the larger body even in our small part. Even when a hand reaches out for a fork, it's still representing the tongue, the belly, and the body and getting that food to it. Yeah. You kind of work in a team, and in a church we have a lot of people. You know, I think of all the people that make our services happen, from the booth to Donna's team and the worship team to the security team to you on the cameras and to people that are in different spots. People we forget about, nursery. I mean, the good part about the nursery, if the nursery's doing their job, nobody knows they're there.
Right.
Kids are happy.
Right.
Kids are
Right.
quiet, right?
No problems.
The children's
Yeah.
church, the children are coming out learning. You find out at the end, well, they learned a lot. I forgot all about that. They're down there getting their needs met. So there's a lot of parts in the body that make us who we are. And a lot of times we get all hung up on ourselves, but the body's made up of many parts. In his grace, verse 6, God has given us different gifts for doing certain things well. So if God has given you the ability to prophesy, speak with as much faith as God has given you. If your gift is serving others, serve them well. If you are teaching a teacher, teach them well. If your gift is to encourage others, be encouraging. If it is giving, give generously. If God has given you leadership ability, take that responsibility seriously. And if you have the gift for showing kindness to others, do it gladly. You can just see whatever your gift is, just do it for real. Just do it with your heart. Verse 9, this is the biggest part of this. Please don't miss this. Don't just pretend to love others, really love them. Hate what is wrong. I mean, just hate it. Hold tightly to what is good. Treasure that. And then love each other with a genuine, notice the words real here, really love, hold tight, genuine affection. The word take delight. You can go, well, that's nice service, nice Bible, nice thing. But when you take delight, you're enamored by it. Mm-hmm. When you take delight in a meal, man, that was really good. Right. You take delight in something you really love. In honoring each other, never be lazy, but work hard and serve the Lord enthusiastically. So if you're enthusiastic, you wouldn't actually be lazy. You'd want to do it. Mm-hmm. So he's saying, don't just punch the clock. Give yourself to the Lord, to the work. Finally, rejoice in our confident hope. Be confident. Ride high in the saddle because the Lord is behind you. Be patient in trouble and keep on praying. When God's people are in need, be ready to help them. Always be eager to practice hospitality. Bless those who persecute you. Boy, that's a tough one. Yeah. When people beat you up and do you wrong, you're supposed to kind of like, bless you, brother. Right. Don't curse them. Pray that God will bless them because something's in them. Something's happening. It doesn't mean you don't pray for justice, but you want to, gosh, we were all them. So, you got to find the thorn in their life, get it out. Maybe they can come to Jesus. Verse 15, be happy with those who are happy. Weep with those who weep. Live in harmony with each other. Don't be too proud to enjoy the company of ordinary people. So don't be so proud that you can't understand and relate to other people. And look this, don't think you know it all. Gosh, it's nice to just say, man, I don't get it. Man, never pay back evil with more evil. Do things in such a way that everyone can see you are honorable. Do all that you can to live in peace with everyone. That's big. Not some. Do all that you can to live in peace. Yeah. Go out of the way to make peace. Finally, dear friends, never take revenge. Leave that to the righteous anger of God. In other words, God's saying, I'll handle this. Mm-hmm. Trust God to handle it. For the scripture says, I will take revenge. I will pay them back, says the Lord. Instead, if your enemies are hungry, feed them. If they are thirsty, give them something to drink. In doing this, you will heap burning coals of shame on their heads. Don't let evil conquer you, but conquer evil by doing good. That's when we're most effective, is when we're doing good.
You have laid down quite a...
That's a big text.
That's a big text, yeah.
I mean, that whole text is about doing it the right way.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the key of that text.
And we've said it before, and people could sniff out a fake. It doesn't take that long.
They can.
And
none of us are going to be perfect in that. So just, if you aren't perfect and you're frustrated, just own that you're having a bad day, a bad moment, and people can understand that too.
Yeah,
and be real.
I know that Donna and I have said before, and it was in the context of coming from or out of a youth group or something like that. The kids, young teens, and they just want you to be a real, genuine, authentic person.
Yeah,
and they can.
They can handle the ups and downs and the truth of it.
Yeah, and they can sniff out if you're not genuine, and then you've it's so hard to get that back.
Well, when you're imperfect, then you're letting them know that that you can be imperfect and still follow the Lord and learn from it. I mean, it makes you real in a way that it's attainable to be a Christian in a real environment, in a real situation. Yeah. You don't have to be perfect to be a Jesus follower.
I think what Rick said is really true too. It's hard to get that back when you break that veil. Yeah. It's really, you have to work really hard. Like if you make that mistake, it's going to take 3 more good things to kind of equal the mistake. It's not like one for one.
Right.
So like when Marshall Dillon rides into town, everybody knows his credentials because he had like 12 seasons of episodes, you know?
Right.
So he'd done these good things constantly. So if Marshall Dillon rolls in and just has a, kick all the good people day, people would be like, whoa, what happened to Marshall?
Right.
He's messed up. He's not going to fix that in the next episode. He's going to have to you're going to have some 12 episodes of Marshall Dillon's on. And then you find
Redemption.
Then you'll find out he was faking it so he could get in with a bad gang and arrest a bag of you ever seen those shows where the good guy has to fake bad so he can get in with the bad guys and they make him look bad and he gets kicked out or something so that he can infiltrate. You got to go, what's going on? Is Marshall trying to infiltrate? So everybody gets suspicious because it's not your character or it's a false character. I think it's easier to build character and build on character. And we're not saying be flawless. I don't think you need to be flawless.
Right.
I don't think you need to be flawless. I think you just need to own when you're flawless, when you're not flawless.
Right.
You need to be honest. I think people can handle failures, bad days, frustration. I was having a frustrating afternoon, and I bad afternoon on Facebook trying to fix stuff, and came out. Rick asked me earlier, "Can I get a hug?" I said, "You can't give me a hug right now," because he loves on me all the time. And I said, "I need to just be mad at myself for about 10 more minutes to let this burn out." I just own that, and I'm going to get my hug before we go to dinner tonight. But you can. You understand that, right? I just need to be mad for a minute.
Absolutely.
I'm going to re-purify myself with holy anger at myself because I just wasted 2 hours doing nothing.
It makes us relatable.
Yeah, you just own that and just say that. What I really appreciate was, though you were there to give me the love, and so as I went home, I thought, well, it's going to turn out okay. So you were being you, and I'm like, man, I'm just mad at myself because I can get, you can be real. We're not saying not be you. We're just saying be somebody that Christ can use. Sure. At the end of the day, can people count on you to do the right thing?
I read something, and it was actually just earlier today, which is surprising because it was, I knew I was coming here to do this, but it was like, people are going to see things from you that you may not always be proud of. You may not always say, oh, that was a great moment for me. Mm-hmm. But at some point, you hope that you have done enough that people know that at your core, you are good.
Yeah. I think that's a good way. But
are you good at your core? Is that your, is that your goal? Yes, you're going to have ups and downs. We are human beings, and God knows exactly how He made us with our frustrations and how we handle things.
Absolutely.
And so, are we good at our core?
Well, the other thing is being real and being honest about our flaws. That cuts both ways. We need to be real, as in our loving and our giving and our care of people needs to be real and genuine as well. That can't be faked.
No, I agree with
and
that.
So the realness has to go bone deep. It has to go soul deep.
And one of the things I made a note about Rule 19, if I were going to kind of, Rule 19 is, the rule's a little different than what I titled the show, but when I titled the show, it's this whole Romans 12, don't copy the behavior of the world, the customs of the world. Let me go back to verse 2. Don't copy the behavior of the world and the customs of the world, but let God transform you into a new person. We're in the world, but we're not to take on the world's attitude. Mm-hmm. We're to have a godly attitude in the world like Christ did. And I call this, it's about simply the do's and don'ts of faith. Do the right things, don't do the bad things, and be real. If you can keep it real, do the right things. And when you don't do the right things, do the right thing to correct it. Because all have sinned. We have all fallen short. Right. We are going to make mistakes. We are going to get up on the wrong side of the bed. Our car is going to break down. We are going to smash our finger in the door. Mm-hmm. There's going to be rough days, good days, and own that. And look to God through it, and let others see how you push yourself toward God, not into a hole. A lot of people today are dealing with that through alcohol, through drugs, pornography, just whatever selfish hobby they've got going on. They're kind of recluse into other things and activities, and there's a lot of people are just they detach. And God wants us to be closer to Him and attach closer to Him, and go back and work that through. If others can see you struggling and how you struggle, and as you struggle, is your heart inclined toward God to work through it? That's what's real impressive, because everybody's you know what? Everybody today, almost everybody you deal with. Look at the commercials, the signs going up and down 13 here. it's drugs for depression, drugs for people not feeling well. They're down. They're sad.
Right. Mental health.
Mental
mental health issues. Yeah.
There's a lot of stress and strain in this world. Our world's a really detached world. It's a really frustrating world. And so that tells you that people are kind of looking for solution, but we need to show people that Christ is the solution. You know, we're trying to medicate a lot of times, or try to do other things to kind of get past the fact that we just don't want to deal with the fact that we need Christ, you know, and we need each other in the process. And there's a lot of pain in this world. There's a lot of bad things being done to people in this world right now. And so we're in election season right now. And so nobody wants to talk about that because it's like our whole country's split.
Right.
You know, and what's frustrating to me about it is I think the country's largely split, and I look at it and go, how can we be so split? You know, there's right and there's wrong. And we are in a world right now where half our country has a mindset of you know, Christian exceptionalism and freedom and the right to do things and all the things, which includes our religion. And the other half of the world is almost becoming where they want the government to do everything for you, and they want to socialize this and socialize that, and and we're almost moving toward Marxism. You know, and Marxism, socialism hasn't worked anywhere in the world ever as an experiment. It has failed in every model. Whether you take, if you go all back to the Ming Dynasty, or if you go to if you go to the Syrians, the Babylonians, it has never succeeded.
Right.
And polytheism has never succeeded. Every society that's polytheistic is gone. Even Islam was created to get rid of the polytheistic Middle Eastern society. It was created by Muhammad's family to get rid of multi-polytheism. It was an invention. His grandfather literally invented it because of the breakdown of their society with so many individual gods, and everybody had their own way of worship, and I'll do it my way, you do it your way. They created Islam just to create a world order in that place.
Right.
You know,
Wow. Yep.
so because you can't work in poly. So right now we're in a society where everybody has their own God and their own kind of thing and their own kind of way.
I heard a man the other day that I was talking to, and in my business, I try not to breach those topics.
Yeah, right. I understand.
When I'm in somebody's home, but
Yeah.
something was on TV, and his comment was, "We just haven't tried socialism in an American way."
It hasn't worked in any way.
I'm like, what way? What? America,
How do you equate American way with
America has nothing to do with socialism.
Yeah, the
At
whole
least we
idea.
haven't.
Yeah, there's no model for
And
that.
so I was very confused. You know, I had to think about it. You know, he's like, it just hasn't been tried in an American way. You know, with our mindset and our attitudes.
It's
towards
impossible
it,
to
so.
maintain it in an American way because they're incompatible.
Right.
They go one
Right.
way or another, you know.
Right.
And every time it breaks down because eventually the socialism way you end up with individual or multi-oligarch leaders,
Right.
and then you have tyranny. And
Right.
we have what you call landlords.
Yes.
Or feudal lords. And eventually that breaks down, and there's a revolt about that, and it goes the other way.
Well, it never slides to where everybody is better off.
Yeah, no,
it always.
It only works on that continuum until everything's muted enough that one or two
Yeah.
people control all the pieces.
Yeah.
And so it's a facade.
Sure.
It's really it's what do they call that word when something's a fake and it's not really there, but it's kind of like a
Mirage.
Yeah, like a mirage is another word for it too, where it's not real. What's that? It's like it's definitely illusional.
Sure.
They call it. There's another word I'll come up with in a little bit, but
Right.
but it's where it's not really there, but it's a mirage, and then it gets you to buy into it.
Right.
And then as you buy into it, you've given up what it takes to get back out. So
Sure.
So you've given the keys of the kingdom to certain people, and then they crack down. See, everybody says, wouldn't it be nice if everybody had health care and everybody had equal, you had access, I had access, you had access, so let's give everybody universal health care.
Right.
And then when you give everybody universal health care, they go, we can't afford universal
Can't
health care.
afford this.
So
Right.
we've decided, Rick, you're a landlord. We're going to take care of you. And Donna, you're going to give up your liver to him. That's what
You're gonna
what's
pay
in
the
China.
price.
The Uyghurs are being used for parts while they're living. The
Yeah.
prisoners, they're taking the parts out of the prisoners and
Unreal.
transplant them into the wealthy people. And they're genome typing them when they go into the prison system there because they might need their liver, their heart, or their lungs. If they need your heart, liver, lungs, and you're in a Chinese prison and they take them, you're dead.
Yeah.
So what they're saying is, it doesn't. The idea breaks down very quickly.
Yeah.
very quickly, because the haves and the have-nots. And in society, when you have a lower class and middle class and upper class, you have haves and have-nots.
Sure.
But when you have the three and you have freedom, you have the ability to move beyond that. You can come up with an idea. Elon Musk, I don't know if I'm a huge fan or not, but the fact is, the guy's a billionaire because he's brilliant.
Right.
So anybody could be brilliant. You could come up with an idea, you create something, you design something. The next thing you know, you've got incredible wealth.
Sure.
In some societies, that would never be possible, because you would work for somebody and they would take that idea and they would just consume it.
You wouldn't have had the freedom to pursue it to begin with.
And as a result, people quit thinking of ideas, because if I just have an idea, they're going to take it.
Right.
So the bar gets lowered, and then the creativity and the ideas quit. So all these new drugs that we get, all the new medical procedures we get, are done because people here design them because they know there'll be a payday. There'll be there's a horizon for them. If there's no horizon, the incentive goes down. You can go take a look at some African countries like Liberia, where I work at a lot. Liberia's just kind of stayed the same because their feudal landlord nature causes anybody that moves too far to be just beat down. And so their development is like the 30s. And it's because there's no capitalism doesn't reign there. Feudal landlordism does. And it beats down the ones that think of it. It's taken from them. So what happens is creativity becomes dumb.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And my point is, we don't want to copy the world. We want to be transformers of the world. Our minds need to be different.
Right.
So I don't know how you have a freedom of religion, a freedom to be a Christ follower, if you live in a world where they say there is no way, truth, and life. There's just the various religions, or they may just decide there's one world order, right?
There's that potential.
And if I check in the Bible, Rick, and there's one world order, that would be the Antichrist.
Exactly. Yeah.
So these things are incompatible with Christianity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't copy the behaviors and the customs of the world, but be transformed into a new person, changing the way you think. Have a personal relationship with God. And I think we've got a unique system here. I hope we can keep it without trying to copy a communistic American way. That almost doesn't work for me. It's a very interesting comment. So Romans 12 is about the simple do's and don'ts. So let me get to the rule here, and we'll get out of this episode, and we'll get ready for rule number 20. And I'm going to ask a couple questions. Let me ask this question for it. Well, I'll give the rule first. The rule number 19. Let's give it. Here we go. Big drum roll. Here we go. Hate what is wrong. Evil. Hate what is wrong, and I define that as evil. Hold tight to what is good. I define that as righteousness. Hate evil, hold tight to righteousness, and don't pretend to love, actually love. And I think that's what the world needs today. It needs us to hate what is wrong, hold what is good, and don't pretend to actually love. Romans 12 says, don't just pretend to love others, really love them. Hate that which is wrong, hold tight to what is good. What would you sacrifice and give up? I asked this question in the last one. If you knew that you had, if you were with Jesus in his last 6 days, what would you sacrifice? And you knew your last 6 days and you're going to meet Jesus, you're going to die, or he's coming in 6 days. What would you give up to serve him, live for him, connect with him? And I think a lot of people, if you talk to people that have had near-death experiences, they have a whole change in outlook. Their priorities change. What's important changes. Money becomes less important. Prestige becomes less important. Power does. You'll find out that they say what's important is family, or kids,
Sure.
or who really love them and who they could really love.
Right.
If you had 6 days left, how would that change your priorities? And I think what we need to do is think like that, and then we actually need to live like that. Because Jesus is coming back. Another question, what are you giving him today as your living Savior? What are you offering back? Because a lot of our society is trying to take, but what's great about following Jesus is he gave. He was a servant leader.
Right.
What are we willing to give to the living Savior? Number 3, I talked about this in the last episode. Do people around you smell the sweet savor of the Savior on you? Or do they smell the poo of a huckster? When they see you come in the room, do they go, he's a fake? Or do they recognize, I'm not sure about this guy yet, but he's looking pretty good, See, I wasn't sure. I'm going to pick on this one. I'm going to pick on Justin Fields for a second.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure, but he's looked better after game 3. And he's starting to get into Mark Canada ruined our team. And then we got a new coordinator, Arthur Smith, and he's starting to get the system down, and he's getting to where he understands he's not going to get killed every play.
Right.
So I noticed that this last game, he read past the first. He used to go read one read,
Yep.
or throw it to the outlet, and then he'd run for his life.
Run for his life.
Right?
Yep.
Now I saw him get to the third check down
Yeah.
regularly in the game. Now he's not like the other guy that's hurt. What's his name? Wilson, who's not played yet.
Yeah.
But when Wilson was in practice summer, I would see him read all 4 reads, then dump. So
Yeah.
that's that 13-year guy.
Exactly.
But Fields is starting to realize, I got 2 more receivers still.
Right.
And as he looks around a little bit and he starts using more of those, it takes some of the pressure off him. And then he's starting to trust his line. He's starting to look a little better.
Right. Yeah. When you can have some assurance that you're not
Going to get hammered.
going to get hammered in about half a second.
Well, and I
Yeah.
think people out there, and bringing that back to Christ, I think when people begin to see that you're real and that you're going to be serious and that you care about them and that you really love them, they're going to actually realize that you might be a real Christian.
Right.
Just like he might be a real quarterback. We're not sure yet. So we get to 4-0. We beat Indiana. I'll tell you what, we beat Indianapolis this week and we beat Dallas Cowboys 5-0. We're going to have a conversation. But we'll see. But people are looking to see if you're real. And that's
Right.
the up or the down. And even if he were to lose a game, how does he lead through that? How do you lead through the downhill? So, okay, another
Well,
question. Go ahead.
and the same as as you were saying, he's starting to feel like he has some protection and a team around him. Well, let's take that to a church body as well.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Do we feel protected in our space?
Do we feel safe to be flawed and ask for help or to be
Absolutely.
prayed for?
Right.
And the good thing about this church, we're a community faith. I do.
Yeah.
People are. My wife's going through thyroid cancer right
Yeah.
now, and the support's been tremendous.
Right.
Tremendous all week. Notes, and we've had to turn down meals because we're having dinner with you guys tonight, and people want to help us, and people been calling to find out. Have you heard whether it's cancer or not?
Right.
Well, it is cancer, but we just found that out, and gosh, people have been calling every day to follow up. People care. But that changes how you feel safe to deal with your flaws, but also to grow in your own grace. People are looking for authentic community.
Absolutely, yeah. If you want to look at a church body as a team like that, when you have that confidence that you're not going to get just absolutely gutted and clobbered, you can open up some of that real emotion. You can open up some of those real feelings, and be able to, and that's where people say this is genuine. This is a real.
And I think
person.
the teens are looking for that. Kids are looking for that. I think other adults are looking for that. I think in the Christian world, people are looking for that genuineness. And it's got you. And I think the church here, that's one thing I like about our community is I sense that here. I really do. And I think that's a powerful thing. And hopefully you're finding that in the church you're in. But the world needs an authentic, real church with authentic, real Christians today to really stand up and reflect Jesus Christ. And let me, this is the next question.
You just see that with the older people,
Yeah, with the older people.
like in your men's group, one of the
I think that's a really good point. Mother Beth speaking through the not mic that she took, and no, that's okay, and that's a good point. Our men of faith, Rick and I are men of faith here, and our men of faith are really good. We go around a circle. We typically go from the oldest to the youngest. We have gone the other way once or twice, but normally go the oldest. We start with these 80-year-old guys, and we get down to these sometimes 11, 12, 13-year-old
Exactly.
guys. And these old guys are just pouring it out, talking about problems they had and dealing with porn or dealing with this or dealing with, kids that hate them or something and how they change and how they wrestle with this. And by the time you get down to the 13-year-old, 13 is like, well, my problems are nothing. Let me tell you what I'm struggling with, and they're just able to pour out their heart because men have been vulnerable with them.
Right.
I've really thought that's powerful.
Well, how many times have you heard somebody say, "My dad never showed emotion," or "My dad was never there emotionally for me," or whatever?
But our young people have been amazed by that, and I've seen some young people just really share their hearts out back because the older men were very authentic here, and they feel like they could go to them as either big brothers or they saw them as father figures. And I think that's the key: is you be authentic. You don't have to be perfect. I think what's really impressed some of the young guys as much is that they realize that the old guys have struggles too.
Right.
And I
we
think
don't have it all figured out.
you don't have it all figured out, but how you live through it and how you're dealing with
Yes.
it might be a roadmap to help them avoid some pain. The bad part is most of us can't avoid all the pain. You got to live through it your own a bit to grow your own stripes, but others can coach you through it so that as you're coming through it, you hear a voice in the wilderness saying, keep walking. You're going to get out of it. There's daylight ahead. We forget that in a valley, a valley is surrounded by two mountains. And,
Yeah.
it looks good up here and it looks rough down here. But if you'll just walk the right direction,
Mm-hmm.
you'll come up and out. Now, if you don't go the right direction, you could stay in the valley. If you go east and west, you
That's
stay
a
in the
long
valley.
walk.
But if you've got good friends around, you go, walk this way.
Mm-hmm.
Come this way. Come to the sound of my voice. And you start coming up. And the next thing you know, you can see the skyline again.
Well, the thing is, isolation is a tool of the enemy. If he can get
Absolutely.
us isolated, then he can start whispering in our heads lies and untruths and twisting scripture. If we don't have any community around us,
Right.
he can start picking us off one by one.
Yeah, and so much of the world and teens are isolated in their phones and texting and they can have lunch together and never look up and talk to each other on their phones while they're sitting at a table together.
Well, and some of that, they're like, they feel like they're connected, but
they're
it's
not
artificial.
But they're not really.
It's artificial,
Because-
and now we're getting so far into AI. There's nobody on the
Well,
other
and
end.
the thing is, when you text somebody something, you can't really tell what their facial muscles are looking like
not.
and what their attitude.
No.
I think that's being lost in our society. And then you don't even know, were you talking to them? Was it an AI response?
Correct.
Did
Right.
your because
Right.
your text messages now, you get a text message and it will form a response. Some of them will form a response to give back, and sometimes, okay, thanks, that's good,
Sure.
it's fine, but. Is that really your response? Is that what you'd really say? Or are you is it telling you what to say?
Right.
We've got to be real careful that we don't get to where some computer's telling us how to behave amongst each other. We've got to keep it real.
we are connected, so they say. We're connected to the World Wide Web. We're connected. We have instant access to so much, and yet the feelings of depression, the incidence of depression and loneliness and suicide is going off the charts.
Off the charts. And we're medicated to death.
Because you're not connected to anything.
And we're medicated to death.
Yeah.
And even that's not working.
Yeah.
And so our rule 18, our lives are to be a Christ-like fragrance. Sit high in the saddle.
Yeah.
Let your life be a pleasantness to somebody so they can begin to experience God through you.
Yeah.
And that can be the ups and the downs. And then rule 19 today, as we get to the second of our three, right high in the saddle, hate what is wrong. Let people know you're wearing a white hat, not a black hat. Hold tight to what is right. And when you make a mistake, let people know that you made a mistake. Correct it properly. And don't pretend to love. Actually love people. Connect with people. Be in the room with people the best you can. And so that's rule 19. We're going to come back in the next episode and we're going to get to rule 20, the last of the ride high in the saddle. And it's the last rule in our rules of hard knocks. And we're going to take a look at a couple bonus rules in that next episode. We're going to be back again, rule 20 and the wrap here in just next episode. So rule 20 and the wrap's coming up, and you can keep following us and watching other episodes on thedoc.org. You can email Donna at info@onthedoc.org for information, questions, comments. If you need instructions on how to become a sponsor or partner, she'll help you out with all those things. Go to YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes. Those are our primary channels. Make sure that you're looking in there, subscribing, hitting like, asking for notifications. And when you join those pages, we get bonus points. And check out the other channels as well. And go to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, and Getter and have some comments. We'd love to hear your stories about how to ride high in the saddle and be authentic and real. Hit subscribe, like, notify, tell others, bug people to watch our show, and we get bonus points for that as well. Go to Patreon and be a partner or sponsor of the show. Check that out. Figure out how you can get one of these cups by being a sponsor of the show.
Yeah,
Go check
great
that
coffee
out.
mug.
Great coffee mug. You want one of those. And stand by in just a minute as we wrap up this show. Go to Silent, find out how to get your Faraday bag and reclaim your right to privacy. Check out their products. They even got the new wearables. You can go to slnt.com/discount/OTD or just go to slntsilent.com, take out the vowels. And when you check out, hit OTD and you'll get about a 15% discount on everything. There are some additional ones sometimes. And guess what? Free shipping if you use our code. Go check that out. Hey, if you don't have a church, if you have a church where you're judged and they look down at you and they don't really like you and there's no grace and there's no mercy and there's no Jesus, we invite you to come out to Community Faith Church. We're in Southern Illinois if you're nearby. We'd love to have you. 10 o'clock on Sundays, Wednesdays at 6:30. Go to coftv.com. You can watch us online. Rick runs the cameras a lot of times. Sometimes he's in the booth. Sometimes he's on the video stuff as well, putting that up. Check us out. We'd love to have you. If you're in your area, you're away from this place, make sure you find a church where it's preaching the Bible and that Jesus is Lord and there's a little bit of grace and mercy. What do you think about that?
Absolutely.
Well, you did good, Rick, and your special guest host. Donna was good. We'll see how
I
she
tried.
Yeah, Donna did good.
Yeah.
She didn't blow anything else up once we got the episode rolling.
Anything else up?
Yeah, no, we had 3 coming out of the chute. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, you did good. You done good. You done
Wah,
good.
wah, wah.
We'll be back real soon for the next episode. I'm Pastor Troy. You've been on the dock with Troy, Donna, Rick, and a silent Mother Beth. She'll be back soon. We'll see you soon, and go out and serve God, live God, and really, really love people.
Love people.
We'll see you soon. Check this out from SLNT.
There are more than 8 billion phones in the world, a fact that threatens your privacy, security, and health. With Silent Pocket Faraday protection, you can regain control over your mobile devices. We get it. Privacy and security are inconvenient topics, and you may feel like you have nothing to hide, but the fact is that in the modern world, your laptop is never really off. Your phone emits a signal, even in airplane mode. And everything from your passport to your credit cards contains RFID, and all of it contains valuable private information that is easily exploited in the wrong hands. Silent Pocket offers a range of products you already use: wallets, bags, travel gear, laptop sleeves, key cases. But with the added protection of our patented Faraday technology, which turns your devices invisible and safe from the outside world. Many industries, from top business professionals to government officials, require the use of Faraday products for the day-to-day security of them and their staff. They understand that we are constantly at risk and take the necessary steps to prevent future attacks. We offer this elite technology to anyone that values their personal data, and we are proud to offer a premium range that fits seamlessly into your everyday life, providing security without looking like a tinfoil hat. As we learn to live with technology, Silent Pocket stands on the 3 pillars of privacy, security, and health. Our goal is to provide harmony with mobile technology without risking our most valuable information. We hope you'll trust us to help you do the same.